What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Friday. Hope you guys are having a great end to your week as we are going live here talking about Derrick Henry's path to winning the MVP. As last night's game had two MVP candidates, two guys that are up there near the tops of the MVP odds via BetMGM. So we're here to talk about Derrick Henry, one thing that helped and boosted his MVP campaign this week, and also one thing or a path for him to winning the NFL MVP award here this season. So, Zach, we're going to have a good conversation here. We're going to talk about that game last night as the Packers give the Cardinals their first loss of the season at home on Thursday Night Football. Usually Thursday Night Football games are somewhat of snoozers, but this one was absolutely not a snoozer as it goes down to the wire. The Packers get a pick on Kyler Murray. So welcome in, everybody. It's going to be a good show on this Friday. We've got our SEC picks, a little light slate in the SEC, but I think we've got four winners. I think there's automatically four winners we're going to go through, plus our mortgage pick of the week, and then end our week on Ain't That Good News. Ain't That Good News every Friday. Zach, welcome in. Hope things are going well.
Yeah, glad that it's Friday, heading into the weekend. Going to have a good Halloween weekend and a lot to discuss today from last night. And as you said, the SEC, I've been red hot with my picks over the last couple of weeks. Excited to get back on the saddle for that. And I have a note for everybody who was watching yesterday. I do have a note. I do have my joke. And it is it could be categorized as a dirty joke. It's not extremely filthy, but it could be categorized as a dirty joke, but it is funny, in my opinion, and we will get to that. But first, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Twitter is still being a little funky.
I don't know what's going on with Twitter, man.
So, F Twitter for this morning and come over to YouTube. YouTube's probably the easiest way. Everybody's got the YouTube app. Louis, I see, has switched over. Mark is there. Steven is there on YouTube. So shout out to Jonathan. We've got you covered there on YouTube, but we are going to have a good show today. Make sure you share the show. If you're on Facebook, Facebookers, more people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. And as I said, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter. We got content going out on all the social platforms, including Instagram. But we've got you covered this morning on a Friday morning with A to Z Sports. Let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by BetMGM. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter when it wants to cooperate with us, but also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok. I got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for our show, for you guys as well. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area at renterswarehouse.com. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is free. Wilson County Hyundai. Head out to Lebanon and make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your car buying process. They're at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. So here's the thing is that Louis has switched over from Facebook to YouTube. And then I've got Corey saying, dang, gonna miss Louis saying E after everything. So Louis, you'll be missed in the Facebook chat. We do see all the chat combined here on our stream that we've got in the back end, but we are going to have a good show. I don't know what's going on with Twitter. I tried to reconnect Twitter this morning. Apparently it's not working. It's working for our Dallas guys. So I don't understand what's going on with the A to Z Nashville Twitter, but we will continue to try to fix that. But again, YouTube's the place to be these days. Facebook and YouTube are the place to be. Jerry says he's not going to YouTube. That's fine. But Louis is over on YouTube these days.
And Liz brings up something very important, guys. It's no longer Facebook. Don't we mean Meta? That's going to take some adjustment.
And I don't know what that means. That's all about. We can dive into that or not, but
I know what that's all about.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
rebranding a track record,
right? But is they rebranding the company, or is it the app? Facebook's not changing names; it's the company that's rebranding their name. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually don't know.
That's how I took it. That's how I took it. Is the
We're on
company
meta,
is rebranding.
bro.
Huh?
We're meta.
Yeah, and they're not getting world peace. They're just creating world wars over there on Facebook. Apparently, after those pages there. But anyway, all right, Zach. That game last night was
Well,
nuts.
I got a joke.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I wasn't here,
I
so you got
told you this twice.
my
You guys
bad.
set me up. Team me
My
up,
bad.
baby. Team me up. All right.
All right.
I do have a joke for everybody. And before I get to my joke, I do want to pay this off. You were out yesterday, but look, we're talking about payoffs. Jarrell asked, did you tell the one word that the Titans need? I did that yesterday, and that one word is deception on offense. I think if they can execute deception, they'll do very well. But here is my joke for this morning. On a Friday morning, let's see how we can do. All right. So we'll start out with a prostitute. There is a hooker / prostitute, lady of the night, whatever you want to call her. She's outside of a hotel and she's standing around and she hasn't had a client in some time. She's kind of going through a cold streak, as they say. An old man with a cane hobbles by. I mean, he is just scooting real slow along, an old hobbly man. And so the lady of the night says, hey, why don't you come in and we can have some fun? The old man looks at the lady of the night and says, I don't think that I can. I just don't think that I can. And she goes, oh, come on, let's give it a go. So the two go into the hotel. They do the deed. And let me tell you, something is reignited in this old man. It's like he never needed a cane. And he is all of a sudden a stallion. So they do their business. And the lady of the night is worn out. Like, she is tired. She's worn out. She looks at the old man and says, I thought you said you didn't think that you could. And he says, yeah, pay. I got one laugh, and all I needed was one laugh because that was the only laugh that I was going to get.
Yeah, not bad. That gave me moth joke vibes from Norm Macdonald. I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know how long it was going to take to get there. But it was a solid little backdoor punchline. But it was
backdoor cover. Hey, it's a backdoor cover. Hey,
it's still
the magic bucket told me to tell a joke, so I told a joke.
There you go. All right, now let's get to it. Now we can get to that game last night where the Packers steal one in the end zone. And I'll pick on Kyler Murray there. So pretty crazy game. Now nobody's undefeated, right? And the NFC's got 5 teams with 1 loss. Now that the Cardinals are 7-1, the Packers winning 7 straight. They are 7-1. I lost money last night at BetMGM because I picked as soon as the Devontae Adams and COVID stuff came out from the Packers on Monday, I jumped on Cardinals -5. So I lost that because they lost outright. And I wouldn't have won even if they would have scored a touchdown at the end of the game. But Zach, I mean,
I hit my under. I barely through some crazy things, but I hit it.
There you go. But crazy game last night.
Yeah, no, it was wild. Well, and the 4th down stop was massive for the Cardinals. Then they had to actually go down and get a field goal to tie, obviously, or get a touchdown to win. And they did a masterful job. Kyler Murray did, driving down and giving his team a chance to win. The problem that Kyler Murray had is that came out of a timeout. And you're sitting there and you're like, AJ Green should know what the play is. Like, there was a stoppage, and all of a sudden you have this miscommunication that ends up costing him the game. That was Kyler Murray's game to win, right? It was set up to perfection for that. And it was just unfortunate. Aaron Rodgers said last night after the game, he said, hey, I went up to Kyler. I said, I'll see you in the playoffs, because that did feel like a playoff type atmosphere and a playoff type game. It reminds you of that throwback game with Kurt Warner, that unbelievable playoff game in 2009, back and forth. But Kyler Murray, that was his stage, right? We're going to talk about MVP today. That was his opportunity to win the game.
Yeah, especially with Aaron Rodgers not having Devontae Adams. Tanyan, the tight end, gets hurt. They're expecting a significant knee injury from him. So it's pretty incredible. I think the Packers are 7-0 when Devontae Adams can't play. And Devontae Adams, I think, is the best wide receiver in the game. Now, you think it's DeAndre Hopkins, who was also banged up with a hamstring injury and had a touchdown called back early in that game as well. But again, like Aaron Rodgers got to show young Kyler Murray what an MVP looks like, because Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP, and now his team has won 7 in a row. No weapons, no problem for A-Rod. I mean, he goes out there and puts the Packers in a great spot. Now, Kyler Murray did have a chance to win the game for his team. And I don't like Kyler Murray. I saw a quote from him last night. He said he didn't know what happened on that last play. Was there miscommunication? Did AJ Green turn into J.R. Smith? I saw that was a funny comment from the comment section this morning on YouTube. But like, I don't really understand how that happens out of a timeout, like you said.
Well, and that's the play. Like they had to throw it into the end zone, right? Because of the time. If they didn't have any timeouts. So like all of these things start to compile, and that's when you need to be at your best, right? That's when I feel like Kyler Murray needs to roll out and not have the option to run. If it's open, he can take it in. You need some, back to the word, some deception, because AJ Green obviously wasn't paying attention, and it cost the Cardinals an undefeated season. I mean, right? The Dolphins were sipping champagne last night after that loss. Don Shula in heaven, which I went on Wikipedia this morning. Weirdly, you know how you look up random people? Don Shula died at 90 in Florida. Very illustrious career that Bill Belichick in this era has overshadowed Don Shula, but a hell of a coach for the Dolphins. Yeah. That undefeated season now gone for the Cardinals because AJ Green didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah, it was very interesting, right? And out of the timeout. I mean, that's the weird thing. Apollo says AJ Green had a Madden glitch at the wrong time, and that's kind of what it is. I don't know how that gets explained away, or what the reasoning for what happened, or if it was just a weird goof in a game-winning type moment where AJ Green, who has been a Pro Bowl level wide receiver early in his career, battled a bunch of injuries, but getting a second shot here in Arizona, which, I don't know what happened there. But Zach, let's go ahead and get to how this game impacted the MVP voting, because Kyler Murray was going into this week was the odds favorite at BetMGM to win the NFL MVP. Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP, so you had an interesting matchup. And Aaron Rodgers gets to come out of that with, I'm still the guy. I'm still the MVP. You're not the captain yet. I am the captain now, Aaron Rodgers says. So let's ask this question out of the gates here, Zach. We're going to update these MVP odds, but we want to know from you guys first, who is most likely to win the MVP right now? Who is most likely to win the NFL MVP right now? But first, let me tell you guys about Renters Warehouse and renterswarehouse.com. They're the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Simply go to renterswarehouse.com to find out how much your home can rent for. There's so many different ways you can use Renters Warehouse to your benefit, whether it's creating extra cash flows for you and your family, or also by getting that rent estate going to get your retirement plan ready, because that's what Renters Warehouse can do for you. Simply go to renterswarehouse.com.
A to Z Sports, we talk about BetMGM each day. We're about to talk about some odds here in a little bit. BetMGM has you covered with the promo code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of sports books. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. Use that promo code ATOZ SPORTS. No spaces, all together, and they will give you a risk-free $1,000 bet for new users. Download the app today on your Android or your Apple.
All right, so who is the MVP right now? Who is most likely to win it right now? Trying to get to the top of these comments so I don't leave anybody out. Jay on YouTube says Brady. Billy says Henry better. Nick says King Henry hasn't done an interception yet. That's true. George says Brady if it goes on. Theron says Rodgers. Joey with Derrick Henry. Roy says Mr. Henry. Aaron says Henry. There's a lot of Derrick Henrys, which is crazy. I mean, the odds don't agree with you guys, but again, our fan base is filled with Titans fans, so that's, I guess, should be expected. Noah says Tom Brady 12. Louis comes in with Lamar Jackson. King Henry from Kyler Murray from Sean. A lot more Henrys. Orlando says Henry or Allen. Derek Carr's a dark horse. Look, I honestly didn't expect it to be this heavy Derrick Henry in this question. I really didn't, Zach. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, my answer is not Derrick Henry. I do still think that Derrick Henry can. And we'll talk about what happened last night. And I think I have the path for Derrick Henry, and it actually benefits Henry on the future. And I'll kind of disclose that. But my answer, I think Rodgers definitely jumped up last night. Kyler Murray, man, he could have. We wouldn't have been asking this question if he scores a touchdown on that play, because Kyler Murray is the answer.
His
right?
odds
They're
just
undefeated.
get shorter, right?
Isn't it crazy? One play can just change your MVP odds altogether. But how do I justify my answer? I justify it by looking at the road ahead. Tom Brady is my answer. Tom Brady has the easiest schedule ahead. They have 3 tough games. Just 3. 3 tough games. 2 of them are against the Saints, who I think you could question, are those even tough?
Yeah.
Because Jameis Winston notoriously is going to regress. They didn't look great 13-10 win in Seattle.
Like the touchdown the other night from Jameis, he dropped the snap, and that's Jameis Winston, right? It's a drop snap, chaos, and he somehow figures out how to score a touchdown. Like that's perfect Jameis.
And look, Naderade 23 did their research just like I did. Well, I knew this because I follow the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their hardest game, if you take the Saints out of being tough games, which I don't mind doing that, they have one. December 12th against the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, I'm going to read them off. Saints, Washington football team, the Giants, the Colts, the Falcons, the Bills, as we said, Saints, Panthers, Jets, Panthers.
Whew,
this is Tom Brady's MVP to lose, because he's going to be throwing 5 touchdown passes in a lot of those games. This is the answer. And I'm sticking to it.
At 44 years old, will Tom Brady win his 4th MVP? I mean, it really would be pretty fascinating. Now, here's how I was going to answer this. And Zach's probably not going to like this, but this is how I answer it. This is truly how I feel. The MVP will go to the quarterback of the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's who it's going to be. And that could absolutely be Tom Brady. The Dallas Cowboys, I don't know what their schedule is, probably like you do, like you know it, Zach, but the Dallas Cowboys, with the crappy division that they're in, that's a pretty good shot for Dak Prescott to come out and win the MVP, especially because you're using last season for his case. Like last season, the Cowboys were 6-10 because Dak Prescott went down with a catastrophic injury. If he comes back and the Cowboys win and go to as the number 1 seed in the NFC, then Dak Prescott just shows you he is literally the most valuable player, because his team was 6-10 to first place in the conference. So I think, and I don't know, do you have the schedule in front of you, Zach?
The 3 toughest games that the Cowboys play, they got to get through the Vikings on Sunday night this weekend. Again, that's kind of like a Saints thing. You don't know. I feel like the Vikings could beat you, and then again, they could play bad.
Well, we don't know if Dak's going to play.
Right. I think that's all
gamesmanship.
Yeah. Chiefs, Raiders, and Cardinals. Those are the 3 tough games for the rest of the season for the Cowboys. But we're not talking about 4, 5, and 6 tough games.
No.
So, and I didn't really include a NFC East team, because the Giants have problems, the Eagles have problems, and the Washington football team don't have a quarterback, right? Thigpen's not the guy. So they're benefiting off of a bad division, just like the Titans are. But I take 1 tough game instead of 3 tough games. That's why I take Tom Brady. So what is your answer?
My answer is who is most likely to win the number 1 seed in the NFC. Unfortunately, I'm going to agree with you, Zach. It's Tom Brady. And we'll get to the odds here in a second.
He's probably most likely to win his division too.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, because if you look at the Packers are going to win the North. The Packers the North is terrible. The Vikings 3-3, the Bears suck, and the Lions are 0-7.
The North, South, and East are bad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think you can say the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Bucks have already basically locked up their division. And the reason why I'm not going with Kyler Murray or Matt Stafford is because I expect there to be some beating up, because the Seahawks and Niners both have 2 wins, but we know that they should be better teams than just a 2-win resume shows them to have. So
and Seattle will get Russell Wilson back eventually. I don't know if the 49ers will ever get healthy. That's kind of been, since they went to the Super Bowl, they have not been healthy.
It's been the injury bug for forever. And so Dom brought up a good point. I want to go back to it. He says, you guys are making the case that the quarterbacks that have the easier paths will win MVP. Shouldn't it be the other way around? And Dom, like, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but that's not how it works. Like, Dom continues, says, I can't give MVP to somebody with an easy schedule. And
you can't, but the NFL can.
The NFL does. Like, the NFL does. They give the MVP award to the quarterback who has his team as a number 1 seed. That's been the last 3 MVPs have been that, right? It's been Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Number one. Like, that's how it works. I agree with you. It's not telling you who the most valuable player is, but that's what the NFL does. And so if you're looking at these quarterbacks that all with the 1-loss teams in the NFC, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Zach, I will now show the updated odds from BetMGM about this. Look at it. Look who the quarterbacks are. If I can click on it, there we go. It's those NFC guys. Like, they're in the top 6, and then you got Josh Allen, who's 4-2. But the top 6 on BetMGM, 5 of those NFC quarterbacks are all in it, and Derrick Henry is not in it. Derrick Henry's climbing, and we'll talk about him in a second. But those odds tell you that it's going to go to a quarterback. And if Kyler Murray's Cardinals lose a few games and they're the number 2 or 3 seed in the NFC, then Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers will jump them. And by the way, these odds have not been updated since last night's game. So I expect Aaron Rodgers to climb closer to Matthew Stafford. And we'll see kind of how that adjusts. But the NFC quarterback will win the MVP this year. That's how I feel about it.
So there is a caveat, though.
Okay.
And that caveat is Derrick Henry. We all know that quarterbacks are going to get, like, for a running back to win the MVP, he's going to have a career year, as we know, and you're not going to have that stellar quarterback play. But I did some research, and Derrick Henry actually can replicate what Aaron Rodgers did last year to win his MVP. And Dom, I'll give a golf clap to Dom because I thought he brought up a very good point, is he doesn't want to give the MVP award to somebody with an easy schedule, but the NFL does, right? It does. So I think the Titans last night helped Derrick Henry because, as we said, if Kyler Murray completes that pass to AJ Green and they win that game, Kyler Murray, his odds now are starting to separate from all those other guys that you put on the screen, right?
And now Zach's gone. I don't know. Zach clicked the button. I don't know what happened with Zach, but it's that
happens. But he's no longer, minus what he is now at plus 350. He's probably plus 250. He probably gained some steam there. So I think that benefited Derrick Henry a great deal on how that game finished. And it's crazy. One play mattered. I mean,
yes,
obviously it decided the game, but it decided more than just the game.
All right, Zach, let's get into it. Let's ask this question now. What's Derrick Henry's path to winning the NFL MVP? What is Derrick Henry's path to winning the NFL MVP? But first, Zach, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. It's that simple. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. They've got inventory. It's a quick trip down I-40 exit 236. They got the Palisade, the Sonata, the Elantra. I mean, you talk about vehicles. They have fuel-efficient vehicles that are set and ready for you to test drive. Go to WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Payne Bone and his team will hook you up with a great deal. Tell them A to Z Sports sent you, and you can get in your perfect make and model, which is a Hyundai, this holiday season by going to WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Also, don't forget, download the app, BetMGM. Download it right now. Use code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first deposit and your first bet. That's the BetMGM app. Download it today. Again, all you got to do, download the app, use the code ATOZ Sports. You make your first deposit, your first bet's risk-free up to $1,000. Also, later on today, 2 p.m. Central Time, A to Z Sports Picks presented by BetMGM with Alan Bell and Brian Edwards to get you guys winners for the weekend. Zach and I have our SEC picks, whereas somebody's white hot in the SEC picks that we'll talk about later on in the show. But don't forget, visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older, must be present in Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Derrick Henry's path to winning the MVP award is what?
It's not what G-Man and what you said earlier last week after the Bills win. G-Man saying, break Eric Dickerson's record, 22 touchdowns, AFC Championship game, all that. Like, I don't disagree with that. But I am looking at the actual road ahead. And there are two benefits. And Aaron Rodgers, honestly, he benefited from it last year. They have to beat the Colts, right? Beating the Colts solidifies their season and it being easier and them kind of putting the nail in the coffin in the AFC South because of the tiebreak and all the things that we've discussed. I also think a part of Derrick Henry's MVP path, what is important, is the Sunday night football game against the LA Rams, in which a lot of people will be viewing Derrick Henry. He has got to showcase what he showcased on Monday night a couple of Mondays ago against Buffalo, right? We started talking about MVP. National media started talking about MVP. 3 touchdowns and 100-plus yards and a dominating win at the end to get the job done against a respectable Bills team. That helped Derrick Henry's campaign. He needs more of those. So primetime against LA, but here is my main point. So Dom brought up, shout out to Dom, easy schedule, easy path. Austin, do you know how Aaron Rodgers won the MVP award last year?
By having like the second best season of his career.
I'll go ahead and tell you, though. It was at the end of his season.
Yeah.
It was the last 6 games. And who were his opponents? Chicago, Philadelphia, Detroit, Carolina. Those are 4. Gross, and gross. All those teams sucked. They were really bad.
Mm-hmm.
He then played the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. And what did he do in snowy Green Bay that night?
Demolish the Titans.
Put on a show. He ended the season against Chicago again, and they beat him 35-16. The Bears sucked. Mitch Trubisky, no thank you. I don't even know who was quarterbacking the team at the time.
Nick Foles, I don't know.
That was the path. He had an easy schedule and one primetime game at the end where he showcased his talent and he beat a formidable foe. What do the Titans have? This is setting up very nicely for Derrick Henry if he continues on the path. Now, he has to take care of business against the Colts and the Rams.
Yeah.
But at the end of the schedule, and I'll take the last 5 games, Jacksonville, an aging Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you know? Prime time on Thursday night against San Francisco, which is a major market team.
Yep.
Regardless of where the San Francisco 49ers are going to be, a lot of people watch that game. That is Derrick Henry's showcase game. And then they end the season, Miami and Houston. 2 winnable games. What Aaron Rodgers did last year is exactly what Derrick Henry, I agree with G-Man, with all of the records being broken and AFC Championship and all of that. Running backs will have to do more to win this MVP award. But damn it, this schedule is setting up to perfection for Derrick Henry to showcase his MVP ability.
Well, and so you listed the last 5 games, which are Jags, Steelers, Niners, Dolphins, Texans, right? I think you can add that 6th to last game at the Patriots. It's a noon CBS game, but and the Patriots in that Steelers game in Pittsburgh, in New England, those are big TV area games. I don't care if Mac Jones is the quarterback or not. People still watch the Patriots games. And so I think there's opportunity to go Patriots, Jags, Steelers, big TV, Niners, big TV, Dolphins, Texans. I think you're right.
The reason why I left them out is because the bye week follows that Patriots game. And that week gives you the ability to reset get ready for the last stretch of the season. The bye week is a benefit for the Titans. Sometimes, I mean, years past, they've had a bye week at week 4. That sucks.
Well, that was because of COVID. That wasn't because of their actual.
You don't want
bye week.
that. You don't want
bye
that.
week was week like 7 or 8 last year.
Even if it was 6 or 5, the first bye weeks of the season, you don't want that. Bye week in a longer season, week 13, man, perfect. That is primo. So if they can reset, that last 5-game stretch is the epitome of Derrick Henry's MVP campaign that Aaron Rodgers showcased, and they're benefiting. Now, look, you got to avoid Dak. You got to avoid Tom Brady. You got to hope that maybe they rest or they don't have the games that we're notorious to seeing, because those guys will always have a leg up on a running back in a mid-market team, right?
Yeah.
Kyler Murray losing last night helped you because his undefeated season now is gone, and that's not extended.
I definitely agree. I agree that Kyler Murray losing helps, because I think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are going to lose a couple more games. Like, I think 13-4, 14-3 Cardinals, that's likely because of the division they play in, and the NFC is just a tough conference. So I think, and I talked about this, I gave my 3 things that have to happen for Derrick Henry to win the MVP a couple weeks ago. One was break Eric Dickerson's rushing records for a season, which I believe he is still on pace to do, even with an 86-yard performance against the Chiefs last week. But that's 2,106. He needs 2,106 or more. I think he needs well over 20 touchdowns, which he is still on pace to do, even not running for a touchdown against the Chiefs. And Zach, earlier I said top 2 seed in the AFC. But I agree with you and what you said in reaction to me saying that a couple weeks ago, is that because the NFC is so stacked, and like what I said earlier in this show, that I think the MVP will go to the number 1 seeded NFC team's quarterback, because all 5 of those quarterbacks are currently in pretty high odds, the top 6 odds to win the MVP. I think the only way Derrick Henry wins the MVP is breaking Dickerson's record, well over 20 rushing touchdowns, and the Titans are the 1 seed in the AFC. That's the only way it's going to happen. And do you trust the Titans?
I think
do you trust the Titans to do that?
I think they can. I said it weeks ago, I think they could. That was one of the reasons why I picked them in back-to-back weeks to beat the Bills and the Chiefs, because I believe that this team is now, I think they're a well-coached team. Mike Vrabel, say what you want, but they're not doing dumb penalties constantly like we saw maybe a handful of years ago. Huh?
Yeah.
They're a well-coached football team. They now have, again, what they're doing with Julio, that frustrates me, but their defense is now starting to play better together, and that's what you want to do. Their pass rush is starting to get push and actually be a threat to an offense. That's something that we've never had. And A.J. Brown is starting to kind of get healthy and get into game mode. And when A.J. Brown gets into game mode, you better watch the F out, because he's going to score and he's going to make big plays. And if you have a guy like A.J. Brown and possibly sprinkling in Julio Jones making big plays on top of an MVP product that could be in Derrick Henry, you have a Super Bowl caliber type team, also paired with an easy down the stretch schedule. This, I've said, if the Titans be the number 1 seed in the AFC, I believe they will go to the Super Bowl. I stand by that. I will not let up on that. I said that earlier weeks ago. I think they can do that. I think that's realistic.
I think of the 3 things that Henry had that have to happen for Henry to win the MVP, I trust that him breaking Dickerson's record. I trust that he's going to have 20 or more touchdowns rushing, because he's halfway there at 10 right now through 7 games. I just don't. I think the least likely is the Titans winning the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Well, of course, that's the harder of the 3. He's already have 10 touchdowns. He already has almost 1,000 yards. Like, of course, you're not saying anything that everybody else doesn't already know.
But I think that's the most important one, because he can do that.
That's why it's the hardest. Yeah, I know. You are correct.
I just don't expect it to happen. So we'll just update you real quick on Derrick Henry's odds. At BetMGM, the MV King is currently plus 1,600. So I already showed you, here are the top quarterbacks right here with the top 6 QBs with their odds on BetMGM. And then there's Derrick Henry at plus 1,600. Lamar Jackson is also in between there, as well as Justin Herbert, or in between the top 6 and Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry is 9th in NFL MVP voting, which I think he has the ability to knock off a few of those quarterbacks ahead of him. The NFC will have some teams slide. I think the Rams game is not important for the Titans playoff seeding, really, but I think it's really important for Derrick Henry's MVP campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's eyes, right? And you get millions of eyes on Sunday Night Football. Here's the last thing I'll say why I think the Titans are in the driver's seat for that 1 seed. Who do they have to worry about? The AFC West, the Chiefs, in which they have the tiebreak over, they're going to have to play from behind. The Raiders have an interim head coach, and the Chargers, who lost to the Ravens a couple of weeks ago, got killed by them. That doesn't help their case, and they've got a young quarterback that doesn't have the experience. So that's the AFC West. The AFC North.
And so you're looking at the Chiefs, you have the chance to pick apart those two teams and get things right. All the Titans have to do is be 13-4.
Right. And the Titans have the tiebreak over the Chiefs. Right. The AFC North will beat up on themselves. It's too good of a division. Right. The Ravens, that didn't help their case of losing. They've got the Bengals, who are the surprise, and maybe maybe that cream rises to the top. I don't know. But I think that they are more likely to beat up on themselves because the Browns can beat all 3 of them. The Steelers can beat all 3 of them. The Ravens can beat all 3 of them. And the Bengals can beat all 3 of them. The Bills have the easier schedule, just like the Titans, but the Titans have the tiebreak.
Yeah,
the Titans are in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in the AFC. I mean, I just explained it to you very eloquently.
Can the Titans go 8-2 in the last 10 games? That's it, right? If you go 8-2, you're 13-4.
With losses to the Rams, and I would probably sprinkle in, you don't want to lose to Pittsburgh. If you lose to the Rams and maybe a team that is not going to be vying for the playoffs,
the Niners
is going to be competing with you, but you don't want to lose to the Niners because it's on prime time. So
those 2 games are the ones you'd rather lose. If you're talking about number 1 seed,
but you're talking about both. The whole reason why you want the number 1 seed is so you can help Derrick Henry. You want this to be a memorable, magical season. I want it all, baby.
That's why I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, it's going to be tough, but if they play well, they're structured to win.
Yes, but you're asking an NFL team that lost to the Jets a month ago.
They didn't have Julio Jones or A.J. Brown. They didn't have any wide receivers. Their wide receivers were trash. They were practice squad guys and third-string guys that were on 1-year deals named Josh Reynolds. They didn't have anybody to throw to. Their tight ends sucked. Ferkser couldn't catch. Like, that game, I get it. I watched it. You watched it. Everybody watched it.
The wide receivers the Titans didn't affect the Titans defense from not allowing Zach Wilson to ball out that day.
It affected them and prevented them from building a lead in the first half and kicking field goals instead of touchdowns. It did. It did affect the game. You watched it. The first half, they kicked 3 field goals. If they would have scored 2 touchdowns, that game's different because Zach Wilson would have to throw more. And God knows says Zach Wilson can't throw.
Zach Wilson could throw that day because the Titans defense allowed him to. What are you talking about?
They let them back in the game. They let hope back in the game.
Yes, but again, like the defense still allowed.
The reason why they lost that game is because they didn't have Julio Jones or A.J. Brown.
I disagree. The reason why they lost
I just told you why.
No, Zach, that's your opinion. I can't absolutely disagree with your opinion. Your opinion, that's the reason why they lost the game. The reason why they lost the game is because they allowed Zach Wilson to make chunk plays down the field to lead to touchdowns in the second half. That's the reason why they lost the game. It's not that hard either.
No, it's not that hard in the sense of if you look at the actual box score. What was the score at halftime? I'll tell you, it was 9-7, right?
Yeah.
If they turn
Titans
2 of those field goals into touchdowns, now you're 17-7. It's a completely different game, and the Jets are playing a different way. But they let the Jets linger.
I know you're not wrong there, but the reason why they lost is because Zach Wilson bombed them during the second half of that game. The Titans were up 17 to what was it? They were up by I forget the second half score. But again, like Zach Wilson put back-to-back touchdown drives together and they, with big chunk plays down the field, that's why they lost the game. Sure, did kicking 3 field goals in the first half hurt? Yes. But that's how they lost the game, is because they let Zach Wilson ball out in the second half.
They lost the game because they kicked 3 field goals in the first half.
No, they were still winning, Zach. They were winning the game at halftime.
9-7. There's a difference from 9-7 than up being by 2 possessions.
Okay. All right. And here's
what happened at the beginning of that game, or the beginning of the second half. The Jets come down, and it's 17-10. The Titans' lead was only 7 points, and that's what screwed them.
And then what happened? Zach Wilson beat them. Zach Wilson beat them when they were up by 17-10. Like, that's how the game happened. That's how it happened. Did the Julio and AJ not being there have an effect on it to kicking 3 field goals? Yes, but they could not stop Zach Wilson in the second half from scoring points. That's why they lost that game.
Austin, they had a chance to win at the end. Zach Wilson could have sealed the game earlier, but he couldn't make an out route throw to Corey Davis.
But he put them up in that game where the Titans had to go down.
He couldn't score at the end to seal the victory either.
Like you have, sure, they
we've had this argument before, and so we can move on.
Yeah,
I think what I think, you think what you think. I believe you're wrong. You think that I'm wrong. I think I'm right.
Okay, all right, that's fine. But I have 4 winners. I think the SEC picks this week have 4 easy decisions. Okay. So we'll get to our SEC picks here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, and that always sucks and you never like it, but stuff happens, right? Make sure you know who to go to and you know who to trust. That's the folks at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They'll get you back to health in a great, efficient way. boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. They're hooking you up right there with a risk-free $1,000 bet for brand new users. Use that promo code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of sportsbooks. And I also want to add, what are you doing Sunday? Well, Austin, I know what you're doing Sunday because you're doing the same thing I'm doing, and we're going to be live at Mill Creek Tap Room to watch and broadcast. Make sure your live notifications are on if you cannot make it. Eat burgers, drink beer, be merry, and watch the Titans try to seal the AFC South, essentially, early on in the season this Sunday.
All right, SEC picks coming up, presented by BetMGM. Joseph says, Austin, you're wrong. No, Joseph, you are wrong on that. So,
Joseph, you're getting the love of the show. Good job, buddy. Way to go, pal.
I'm not wrong.
Joseph's getting the love of the show.
I'm not wrong. Joseph, grammatical error gets a love of the show. Zach, your standards are just evaporating.
Well, no, I'm with you, Zach. He actually spelled my name correctly. Joseph, my man, my main man, the love of the show. Way to go, dude.
SEC picks. I'll say one thing that Zach was right about last week. All of his SEC picks. I mean, look, we both hit. Joseph, you're driving, bro. So now you're breaking the law and admitting to it. Come on now. But anyway, so. Last week,
don't be woke, bro.
All right. So last week, on the 4 SEC picks that we had, Zach and I agreed on all 4 against the spread, and we hit them all. So Bama minus 25, Mississippi State minus 20.5, A&M minus 19.5, Ole Miss minus 9. We all nailed all of those. Then Zach goes 6-0 on the week with his mortgage pick of Liberty and North Texas over by a half point. By the hair on that chinny chin chin, Zach goes 6-0 last week, and that put Zach at 70% on the season, which pretty nuts. 70% on the season. Unfortunately, I went double mortgage last week, and I split those mortgage picks. Unfortunately, Cincinnati let me down against Navy, so I went 6-2. Last week. I am at a still pretty good, but significantly behind Zach, 64% for the year. So now we get to our SEC picks this week, and we've got 4. And Zach, I believe these are 4 pretty easy selections. Missouri minus 16 down the street at Vandy. Where do you go with this one?
I'm not picking Vandy. You can pick Vandy. I'm not picking Vandy.
I'm not picking Vandy. I'm picking Mizzou minus 16. I've already got all my picks circled. So Mizzou minus 16 for me. I'm guessing that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Missouri is going to score 40. Vandy might be able to score 20, but 40 and 20 is 20 and not in more than 16. So that's what I pick there. All right, Georgia minus 14 versus Florida in Jacksonville. Again, Georgia minus 14 against Florida. Florida seems like a mess right now with their quarterback play is up in flux because Dan Mullen's going 2 QB system. Georgia is stomping everybody, but Georgia's quarterback play is not like superb by any means. Stetson Bennett can do some things sometimes he can't, but that Georgia defense is insane. So I'm going with Georgia minus 14. If this was 14 and a half, I might think about Florida, but I'm going with Georgia minus 14.
The 14, I don't necessarily like, but I think Georgia is just the superb team. And I think that late in that game, that will be realized. So I do agree with you. I think Georgia, I'm not going to bet against Georgia until they play Alabama, probably.
And then you would bet against Georgia against Alabama, depending on the number?
Yeah, obviously depending on the number, which will be in the championship game, unless Bama slips up somewhere and Ole Miss backdoors their way in. But I'm living in a unrealistic world thinking about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, you're up. Ole Miss at Auburn. Auburn minus 2. I thought this was interesting. So I saw Brian Edwards call on Tuesday, called Auburn the best 2-loss team in the country. Auburn hosting Ole Miss, getting 2 points there. What do you think about this?
Well, Auburn has been shaky at times earlier in the season. Like they play well. They are I would agree, they're the best 2-loss team.
They should have lost to Georgia State.
They can. Well, wait. Say again.
They should have lost to Georgia State.
They should have, but they didn't.
Right, but there was some controversy.
That's what they're yo-yo. They can play up to their competition, and they played down to that. I still have Ole Miss. I'm not picking against the Rebs. I've been red hot again with the Rebs so far. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not going to pick against Ole Miss until I get burned by it, and I haven't been yet. I don't think I've been burned by Ole Miss. I did not bet the Alabama Ole Miss game, so yeah, and I picked Ole Miss to cover the 2.5 against Tennessee. So yeah, so we're both agreeing on that one. Ole Miss +2 is that number, and then I'm going all 4 road teams, Zach, this week. Kentucky +1 at Mississippi State. Kentucky, in my opinion, should be a favorite in this game. So I'm going Kentucky +1 at Mississippi State. Maybe money line potential on the BetMGM app if I feel like it. At some point, I'm probably going to listen to Alan and Brian later this afternoon before I pull the trigger on that money line pick for Kentucky. But Kentucky +1 at Mississippi State.
Unfortunately, the regular picks are not fun because God knows I'm not picking Mississippi State. So I'm picking Kentucky. You could have told that.
So we are picking 4 road.
I mean, but we've been pretty good. I mean, right? We've probably picked a lot of the same guys this season, but we've been damn good. What's your percentage?
I'm 64%. And
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're 70%, which is absurd. So I think it's pretty impressive there. And so we're picking all 4 road teams. We're picking 3 road favorites to cover. 2 road favorites to cover. Well, I guess, Georgia's not a road team.
Neutral site.
Yeah. All right. Mortgage picks of the week. This is where I struggled last week because I split my 2. I went double mortgage, which is never a smart idea, and I knew that going in, but I got screwed by the Naval Academy. Zach, what is your mortgage pick of the week this week?
So I'm between 2, which
Same.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go one way instead of the other. I'm definitely not doing double. Oh man, this is tough. What I want to do, and I'm not going to do this, the lowest over under in football history, I believe, 36.5 Iowa, Wisconsin. But that can be like a 9-10 game, right? Like,
yeah.
So that was weird. But I am actually going. So my 2 that I'm deciding between is Cincinnati minus 26, because I think they're going to boat race Tulane. I think they're going to win by 30 plus points. Is that one of your two?
It was not. I looked at it though hard.
Okay.
26 is a lot. 26 is a lot.
26 is
well, 26 and a half is what I saw that this morning.
20. Well, Tulane sucks. They
bad. They gave Oklahoma such a good push, in week 1. And Tulane is really bad, but Tulane can score points. And I thought about the Cincinnati pick, and I almost went Cincinnati 14 and a half first half again, because they're going to be pissed off at only beating Navy by 7. I thought about that one. It's on my sheet of paper. I did write it down.
Going back to the Lone Star State. I'm telling you, I'm literally going to the Lone Star State next week. I'm going with the over. Give me over, and I wish I didn't have this half point, but 61 and a half Texas Baylor. I think that thing is going to be a shootout, like 40 to 30 something. I think that's going to be back and forth. They're not going to be playing much defense. I expect a lot of points in Texas. Texas Baylor over. A lot of points being scored.
Man, I actually like that a lot.
Well, yeah, I picked it. That's what I'm saying.
No, I do like that a lot. Yeah. No, I think that's great. Here are my 2 mortgage picks that I've been between. Local flavor, MTSU -7 first half against Southern Miss. Southern Miss is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And MTSU can score some points. They just shellacked UConn, who sucks as well, last week. So MTSU -7 in the first half against Southern Miss. That's at MTSU. And then Minnesota -7.5 at Northwestern. Northwestern also blows.
Minnesota, I'm not telling you. Minnesota is kind of like Auburn. They can be good. They can be bad.
Yeah, I know. And so, and I got some Minnesota when they beat Maryland. I just, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to go local. I'm going with the Blue Raiders. MTSU -7 first half versus Southern Miss. That's my mortgage pick. So I'm going to circle that and X out my Minnesota pick. -7 first half.
Yeah, and I agree with Dom. The Big Ten has been tricky this year, right? So, like, Penn State looks good. Iowa looks good. Iowa looks bad. Penn State looks bad. Ohio State lost early. Michigan, man, I think Michigan, I will say this. Maybe this is a bizarre year because Oklahoma State, I feel like Michigan is going to Oklahoma State themselves, which they notoriously do. And that is good season, stack up 6 wins in a row, be undefeated, and then have happen like it did last week. Yeah. Michigan's going to come down to Ohio State, but Michigan State is sneaky good game this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And big noon kickoff as well. I mean, I thought about going NFL with a mortgage pick this week, but I didn't, obviously. All right. It's time to get the Ain't That Good News on a Friday. Everybody share your good news. And Louie's got good news because he's back on Facebook. So what is your good news this week to send us all to the weekend? But real quick, let me tell you guys about Mandu, the pulse of fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5 or more hours in the weight room. Mandu.com, your first workout is free. How that's possible is because it's full-body electronic muscle stimulation. I did a workout yesterday. Again, Mandu.com. They can help you achieve your fitness goals simply by getting targeted muscle mass growth and strength building and targeting that hard to burn body fat out of there without putting any stress on your joints or old or current injuries. Mandu.com. Your first workout is free. And if you tell them A to Z Sports sent you, they'll take $100 off your first month when you sign up at Mandu.com.
Shout out to Bill's Sports Hub on YouTube. He's still here, And
2
he
weeks
just wants
later,
everybody to know the Bills slipped on the last play. Well, you know what, Sports Hub, you are correct. And that's why they lost that game. They lost. So if you live in Buffalo, God bless your soul.
If you live in Buffalo, the best thing you have to do is to watch a Nashville sports talk show.
Yeah, well, if you're down in Tennessee, you can bet with BetMGM. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. And honestly, Sports Hub, if you're in the Nashville area, you come down from Buffalo, fly in, and if you're an NFL fan, come watch the Titans Colts game with us. We're going to be having a damn good time.
All right, time for Ain't That Good News. Let's see, Ain't That Good News. I saw Louis. Louis was on YouTube this morning, and all the Facebook commenters were bummed that he wasn't there and missed him because they can't see the YouTube comments on Facebook. But Louis was in Facebook jail, and he's fresh out of Facebook jail on there now. Louis is back this morning, so
he's double dipping. Kind of love it,
which is fine. I appreciate that. Aaron says his good news is 2 more days until Halloween. Crew 3 launch to the International Space Station, so it's so excited this weekend. Razorbacks have a bye and hopes the Titans and Steelers win their game. For Ain't That Good News. See more Ain't That Good News. Let's see. Drew got a new job working for Amazon.
Way to go, Drew.
Appreciate that, Drew. Alex Doherty, our Preds writer. Good news. 1 day away from his release from quarantine, and Alex is feeling a lot better. Yep, our Preds coverage had to go virtual quarantine coverage because Alex tested positive for COVID. So I'm glad that Alex is feeling better and also on his way back to Bridgestone Arena in the near future. So George, good news, made it through another year, and he's turning 30 on Monday. Happy November 1st birthday for George there. Noah says headed to Indy for the weekend to watch the Titans lock down the division. And Kalen won tickets to SNL, and it's during his wife's birthday weekend. That's cool. I mean, I don't know if I haven't watched SNL in a long time, like consistently. I see funny clips from here and there, but you know, I would still want to go to SNL, even if SNL isn't peak SNL, right?
Yeah.
You'd still want to do it.
If I won tickets, I would go. Would I buy tickets? Hell no.
Well, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But still, that's awesome. Like I would get hyped to go to SNL. That's cool.
I would go depending on the guest. So like last week, I assume this is last week, that it was Jason Sudeikis. I would go to that. Like, I think he's funny. I would go based on the guest. Yeah. But I don't seek out that.
No, I don't either.
But so it will be fun. I'd like to hear an update to see how funny it is.
Zach, what is your good news?
My good news is actually a double good news that involves the viewers. Because I think this is an easy thing to execute. But my good news, and I'm going to the most Nashville Halloween party in Nashville.
The most Nashville Halloween party in Nashville. So is it going to be, are you going to take a tractor to get there?
No, not a tractor. And
you got to go in a hot tub on the way?
And Scott's right. If Pitbull was there, I would definitely buy tickets. Yes. At SNL. No, I am going to a Dolly Parton themed Halloween party. Everybody will be dressed up as Dolly Parton. Every single person.
So that explains the wig I saw on our Amazon account.
Correct.
I wasn't sure who that was for.
I don't look to see what you order. This is funny. I have thought about playing a prank on Austin and buying some like just weird sex toys just so he would bring it up to me as a complete prank to see if he would say anything. I have thought about that because we basically use the Amazon for business, but
the business
we pay
Amazon
for it
account.
with our own thing. I have thought about that. Man, I thought that would be hilarious. So yes, you did see a wig.
When I check my own orders, like it's like a timeline. So it's not.
But I don't check my orders. Like I just trust that it's going to come.
Wow.
Again, it's just different. It doesn't matter. But yeah, everybody will be dressed as Dolly Parton. So my question to the chat is, what are you going for Halloween? So what are you going as? I want to hear some things. Maybe you're not dressing up.
I don't.
But if you got kids, I feel like you as a dad, I feel like you got to do something, right? Yeah. Whether you go as a cowboy or whatever, something easy.
I don't have my final decision yet. I do have several options because I have my Batman suit. from when I had to wear that on the show. Zach, you could be a tick if you wanted to.
I could. I forgot about that.
I have a dinosaur costume that could be an option, depending on if it's rainy and wet, because it's supposed to rain Saturday morning. Which Saturday, I don't know. Are people doing Saturday night or are they doing Sunday night? I don't know.
Parents know that. I don't have any kids, so I don't know
But
that.
I am my Halloween is Saturday night. So if it rains Saturday morning, that will probably rule out the dinosaur because I have a tail that drags on the ground.
The dinosaur costume is your best costume.
No. The Batman costume is my best costume.
Oh yeah. I don't know. That dinosaur is funny though. The Batman is like, is that studio quality?
See, here's the dinosaur costume's great, although one of my dogs thinks I'm a big squeak toy. So that turns into roughhousing. So I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'm kind of leaning towards Batman a little bit.
So let's read some of these. Assad says he's going for, as David from Schitt's Creek, a fireman from Tank Sinatra. Let's see. One of the Ghostbusters from Johnny Lee, classic Mike Myers from Orlando, hippie with long hair, tie-dye, doobie, fake, maybe, at a gig tomorrow near Tupelo, Gmail base right there.
Hey, Dom says that I look like a limited fake Bruce Wayne, and I would absolutely take that. I mean, Bruce Wayne is a billionaire, and if I'm a limited fake billionaire who is also Batman at night, I'm down with that. I absolutely accept that.
Yeah, but dude, Bruce Wayne has dark hair, though. That's the only thing.
I have lighter brown hair, yes. But again, like that might be my limited fake part of it. So I totally accept limited fake Bruce Wayne.
And Mark says he was the Red Ranger. Man, I was a Power Rangers fan when I was growing up, but I was very the typical. I liked Tommy the Green Ranger that then turned into the White Ranger. I'm not talking about all the spinoff BS that Power Rangers and Hibaro or whatever the company was that created it. But yeah, I like the Green Ranger because he was unique and he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't remember the Power. I watched the Power Rangers, but I don't remember. I did not hold on to that. It didn't like stay in my brain because I was almost too young to have that recall.
Oh, I probably could name all of them.
That's fine. If you want to go for it, you can. I mean, I can tell you my good news, and then you can come back and name the Power Rangers if you want to.
Go ahead and tell me your good news.
My good news is for the second year in a row, we're having a little Halloween party at our house, which is fun. So we got the fenced in backyard, a fire pit going, maybe a little beer pong action going on, but have, a decent little gathering of people coming over to our house to hang out with our puppies in the backyard. And then when all the kids are done trick-or-treating Saturday night, we will get to go clean up around the neighborhood and take all the leftover candy because nobody just wants the leftover candy. So like last year, we just walked around the neighborhood with our drinks and just scooped up all the leftover bags of candy that people left out because the kids were done. Now we're going at like 10 o'clock at night. So the kids are done. Like there's no chance for kids to be out there. We're just cleaning up the scrap. No,
it's robbery.
How's that robbery? It's just trick-or-treating. It's just adult trick-or-treating. If you have candy at your home that you're getting out to trick-or-treaters, you don't want to keep it. You don't want to keep it. You want that to be gone. And so we're just helping. It's a public service.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
Can you name your Power Rangers yet?
I think I can name all. I cannot think of the Yellow Ranger's name, but you had Tommy, Jason, Zach, Kimberly, and I don't know what. Billy was the Blue Ranger.
There's such like annoying people's names.
What would let's see, Yellow Ranger. I'm gonna have to look this up, and I hate that I have to do this. Trini?
Yeah. People have been commenting
Trina. But it Trini.
Trini. Trini. Trini.
She was kind of in the background. Like she was kind of like, well, I mean, what was her role? I can't even think of her actual Ranger.
I don't remember.
She's a pterodactyl. Man, now
Trinity?
I gotta look this up.
Was it full name Trinity?
What was her Zord, dude? What was her Zord, man?
I can't name any of these things. I was too young to have it stick with me. Sabretooth?
Well, the hard part is there's so many. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's what it was. Throwback from the past. We came together and we got it done.
All right, guys. Hope you have a great start to your weekend, Halloween weekend. Be safe. Zach and I'll be live Sunday from Mill Creek Brewery on actual Halloween as the Titans go up to Indy to take on the Colts. So that's pregame, halftime, postgame at Mill Creek Brewery. So get ready for that for on Sunday. And then also there's no Vols game this weekend. So the Vols are on a bye, so no halftime or postgame show with Crompton or Burris. But they'll be back next week as the Titans as the Vols go play Kentucky. So have a great start to your weekend, and we will see you on Sunday. Appreciate it.
It's morphin' time.